Hey everyone, welcome to our Synthesthesia 2021 live stream. Thanks for joining us. We're just getting our stream worked out here, getting all our details dialed in, make sure it sounds good. I'm Troy, I'm the creator of the Blipblox, and I'll be hosting the stream today. I'm here with my partner Kate. Kate will be managing our chat, so if you have any questions, go ahead and just send them to Kate, and she will relay them to me, and we'll work together to answer your questions. I'm going to try not to talk too much, just give you some important information about the Blipblox, but we'd love to hear your questions. So if you have questions, please send them in using the Synthesthesia chat interface. We have the chat on YouTube disabled, so we're just using one stream of questions. So if you are new to the Blipblox, this is what we're showing here is our Blipblox After Dark. This is our latest version. Playtime Engineering has two versions of the Blipblox. We have our original white version, which I'll show you a little bit later, and this is our After Dark version. When we created the Blipblox, we really made it as a device for that kids and adults could both enjoy. Although it looks like a toy, it actually is a very powerful synthesizer. With the After Dark, we basically wanted to take the concept of a toy synthesizer and add some new features and add some power to it to really bring it up to basically being more of a real powerful synthesizer. It's a little bit more synthesizer and a little bit less toy. It has a bunch of new features compared to the white one, but it's a little different. You know, basically we think that the white version is still great for kids and adults looking for a toy-like device, where the After Dark is a bit more of a real synthesizer. This being a synthesizer show, we're going to focus a little bit more on the After Dark. So again, if you've never seen this before, I'm going to give you a quick run-through of all the functions. The Blipblox is designed so you can just turn it on and just start having fun. So the moment you turn it on, it starts playing a melody. It has over 300 built-in melodies. So with these built-in melodies, you can really focus on tweaking the sounds, and it can take care of basically making the melodies for you. It does have a MIDI interface and an audio output, so you can plug in an external keyboard or an external sequencer if you want to put your own melodies into it. So let's go ahead and go through it. We have the sequencer button here. This basically randomizes one of the 300 built-in sequences. I'm going to change the filter here. So every time you press that, you get a new sequence. So it's kind of fun. You can just keep pressing that until you find a sound you like. You have a tempo lever here, so this controls how fast the sequence plays. You notice that every time you press the sequencer button, it also turns the automatic drum machine on or off. There is an option you can set if you want the drum machine disabled all the time. You can set an option to do that. We have the Sound Freak button. The Sound Freak's pretty fun. It is it basically scrambles all the notes out of the sequencer. It's a little different every time you press it, so it's a great way to get basically a whole new, just get some fun variation into your sound and just add a little craziness. The notes from the sequencer then go into the oscillator. What we have here is an oscillator button, and the Blipblox works on a concept of oscillator schemes. So there are 16 different oscillator schemes in the Blipblox, and within these schemes you have a bunch of different synthesis methods, things like hard sync, pulse width modulation, and we have wavetables also in the After Dark model. So you can hear some of the different oscillators as you scroll through. The LEDs, the 4 LEDs there on the right show you which oscillator scheme you're using. So what's fun about these oscillator schemes is that each oscillator scheme takes 2 modulation inputs, and that's what these modulation buttons here are for. So all the 16 modulation schemes, there's 2 modulation inputs that you can do things to modulate parameters on there. So let's see if we can hear some of that effect. Go ahead and set these so only the knob is doing the effect. Here's some nice sync there. So this is just with basically the knob controlling the amount of the effect. And also the After Dark has all these LEDs, so for example, for modulation input 2, you can see the amount of modulation going in there on this purple LED, and on modulation 1 you can see that. Now what gets fun is that you can assign any of these 2 modulation inputs to one of the 3 modulation sources, which include 2 LFOs and the 1 modulation envelope. With the modulation envelope, you have control of the attack. So let's hear what an LFO does. As you'll see, these LED patterns point you to the modulation that we selected. So that just pointed to LFO 1. So you can control the speed of LFO 1 and also the amount of modulation it's applying. This is where you can quickly get a lot of great modulations off the Blipblox. With these 2 modulation inputs, the 2 LFOs and the envelope generator, this is what really gives the Blipblox a quick and easy way to get a lot of crazy sounds. Let's try with the other modulation input. Let's put the mod attack on this modulation too. So you can hear that the slow attack going into this modulation too. So from the oscillator, the sound goes out to the filter. The big lever over here on the left controls the cutoff frequency of the filter. We can press this filter mod button to select what modulates that filter. So we can modulate it, looks like we have the LFO1 modulating now. You can also hold down this filter mod button, and that changes the type of the filter. So we have a low pass, high pass, and band pass. So right now, this is the low pass. You can see those red LEDs move to the center. That indicates the band pass. We'll turn the modulation off for now. And you hold it down again, and we see the LEDs go up. That indicates the high pass mode. We'll go back into low pass mode. The filter also has a resonance control. You can access the resonance by holding down the Control 1 button. You'll see it's labeled resonance, and it has a little arrow pointing down, meaning you hold it down. So you hold that down, you'll see the LEDs sort of scroll over, telling you to use the lever on the right here. And we also have a resonance indicator LED there. So blue is no resonance, red is maximum resonance. So we'll crank all the resonance up, and we'll hear the difference. So you hear a nice sort of resonance to that filter. You know, we have resonance on a filter. It's always fun to put a little modulation on it. So here we have the mod attack envelope controlling the resonant low pass filter. And you can apply the resonance to all filter types. And we can take that resonance down to a more modest level. Go back into low pass mode. So the final output controls on the Blipblox are the amplifier release. This is basically just controls how long the note will stay on after it's released. So if you want a continuous sound, you can crank that all the way up. Or if you want a more staccato short release, you just turn this down. Finally, the After Dark has a resonant multi-mode filter, and we can control that in a similar way we control the resonance. We can hold down the delay button, and we can use the filter mod, the filter cutoff lever, again to control how much delay we have. So everything that you're hearing right now is coming directly off the Blipblox. There's no extra effects, so we're going right out of the Blipblox into the sound card here. So that's the dry sound. And then we can crank up the delay and just, if you want to just flood the sound with a ton of delay, it's pretty fun. You get a really nice spacey ambience. This delay is stereo, so I've always loved stereo multi-tap delay. My synthesizer is just, it just puts you right into orbit. If you're a gear nerd, I still have an Alesis MIDI Vert 4. I was just looking at in my rack there. And they had a preset called Orbit, which was a stereo multi-tap delay. And that's sort of what inspired me on this, because it's just a sound that works so good on synthesizer sounds. You know, when you do a quick resonance change, you just hear those little blips just kind of carry through on both sides of your left and right. The Blipblox also has a drum machine, as we heard earlier. So the drum machine, as we said before, goes on automatically every other time you press the sequencer button. You can also turn it on and off manually. So if you hold down the kick and snare, turns the drum machine off, so you can play it manually. Drums come from some. They're basically sampled drums. They're in a ROM inside the After Dark, and you have control over those. You can basically select the sample. There's over 100 kick and snare samples, and you can also control the pitch of these samples. So between the 100 samples and the pitch control of the drums, you really have a lot of variation you can explore. So let's hold down the snare and the randomize button. We'll go into the drum edit mode. So now you can manually select your drum sample and the pitch. Let's I'm going to turn the sequencer off for a second here, just so we can hear some of these samples. So you hear that red dot there shows the pitch. This is fun. We made it to really go into the extremes of high and low pitch, so you can get some really fun, crazy sounds. You have a reverse one in there. That's kind of fun. And you have control of the snare also. Pick a snare sample. Get your pitch dialed in. You can exit the drum edit mode. Then you can use these sounds. A few little performance modes in here that you can play with. One of them, for example, is a drum solo mode. So you can hold down the kick and just hit the sequencer button. Get a little drum solo there. What else do we have? Oh, we have a randomize button. Let's talk about the randomize button. You may have seen me hitting that. There's sort of two levels of randomization. The sequencer basically randomizes a new sequence. It also randomizes all the drum sounds every time you press it. The randomize button randomizes all the synthesis parameters. So it will pull up a new oscillator type. It'll randomize all the modulation sources and destinations. This is a great way to just explore sounds and quickly dial up new things to explore. It randomizes the filter also, randomizes the resonance and multi-tap delay amounts. To take a little bit of time, I'm going to plug in our original Blipblox, just so we can have a comparison here. So just give me 1 second here. The After Dark to the side here. sort of following with more of a toy concept, you'll see that it's a little bit more abstract. Instead of all the label controls, you have how the controls are connected. And these actually, they're not just pretty lines, they actually show how things work. The sound starts here with the sequencer, just like the After Dark. You select your different sequences. Just like the After Dark, you can control the speed. The original has 12 modulation schemes instead of the 16 on the After Dark. As you see, the LEDs, they show just sort of a fun synchronized light show. So whereas the After Dark shows specific synthesis parameters, the original is really just having fun with those LEDs. These LEDs are always changing. You can see right now that some of them are linked to our LFOs. You still have some of the same features. You still have a drum edit mode. Drums are a little different on the original. They're still fun here. The original just has a low pass filter. This is fun. Most kids aren't going to get into the details of, like a resonant filter or different filter types. So it's a little bit simplified. But as you can hear, there's still a lot of great sounds to explore. There is a sort of a parameter mode here. You can enter this. So in this mode, the LEDs are giving you a little bit more information. For example, around the bottom 8 LEDs, you can see your different oscillator types move around. You can see your LFO speeds on these sides. You can see your envelopes around the speaker. And yellow LEDs show your modulation sources. So, I think that's the basics of the Blipblox. I'm trying to think if I forgot any other details. We still have a sound freak here. When we designed the Blipblox, we took a big risk. We invested a lot of time into this, and we thought it was a fun device, but until we really got it in front of children, a lot of children, we weren't exactly sure how they would take to it. So we've been very happy and very pleased to see that most kids really do enjoy the Blipblox. They have a lot of fun with it. The sort of the crazy, chaotic nature of it, the kids really respond to. Kids know what a DJ is now, and they know they're sort of DJing with it, and that's a lot of fun. And the fact that it's really the only music toy out there that doesn't have a keyboard, that is playing the melodies for them. They get to focus on tweaking the sound parameters. It makes it a really unique toy, and we're happy to see that. So I did talk about how the Blipblox did have a MIDI interface, so I want to go and let's go ahead and plug in a MIDI keyboard to the After Dark, and let's just hear let's hear what you can do with a MIDI keyboard. It's a little different, so you don't have to rely on those internal sequences. Thank you all for joining us. We're broadcasting out of San Francisco today. This is all a live show, and we appreciate you taking your time to hang out with us. We enjoy these shows a lot. We miss our live shows. We love being in person to talk about the Blipblox and introduce it to people. We really miss hanging out with kids and be able to show the Blipblox to kids. But these virtual events are the next best thing, and we appreciate you stopping by to check it out. Power up. So when you want to use the Blipblox in the MIDI mode, you can turn off the internal sequencer. You hold down the filter mod button, and you press the sequencer button. That's the same on the original too. So we want to find our MIDI channel here. The Blipblox, you can select the MIDI channel on the After Dark. I think this is probably on channel 1. So let's go ahead and set that. Nope. Let's try it again. Channel 3. There we go. Okay.
Jonathan wants to know, he likes his After Dark. He wants to know if there are any updates coming to give the tempo joystick a secondary function. If it had the option to cycle between resonance, synth volume compared to drums or in drum mode, have it as a kick level. His son loves playing with his gear, and they find that tempo doesn't get used as much.
Yeah. Thanks for that. Thanks for that feedback. We will take that into account. We can't update the software on the Blipblox, and that might be a fun thing to look at. So go ahead and email us at info@playtimeengineering.com, just so we have your contact information. And yeah, we want to, since we can't update the software, you have to do it through MIDI SysX. So it's a little bit slow, but it works pretty good. We could try assigning that tempo knob to some different parameters. I think that could be fun. So thanks for that feedback. Oh yeah. Kate was just reminding me that you might not see the questions. That question was from Jason. He was asking Jonathan, asking to see if we could reassign the tempo lever. I think that's some good feedback. One of the things that's fun with the when you're playing with the MIDI keyboard is you can turn the drums on, and you can basically go into drum solo mode. So if you want sort of a drum metronome to play along with, it could be fun. Yeah.
His question was, is it possible to recreate a specific tune using the Blipblox itself? Or would it have to be plugged into a MIDI controller?
Yeah, so I'm going to demonstrate that a little bit later. Yeah, we actually have some fun. Basically, you can go to the internet and download MIDI files, and then you can drop those into something like Ableton Live, and yeah, you can you can play different melodies. And I'm going to demonstrate that just a little bit later here. So yeah, it's a lot of, obviously we can't put a copyrighted melody into the Blipblox, but you can find them all. Pretty much any song you want is in a MIDI file on the internet, and you can download them and play with them. It's pretty fun, actually. Kind of fun just to play with some droney, if you want to just explore some soundscapes. Everything you're hearing is coming right off the Blipblox After Dark. We don't have any other processing happening here. It's coming right out of the Blipblox, going right into our mixer and our sound card. One of the nice features we've added on the Blipblox After Dark is the wavetable synthesis, which is a pretty advanced feature, especially for a synthesizer in this price range. So let me go ahead and demonstrate some of the wavetables. The wavetables are basically all your yellow, the 4 yellow oscillators. So let me turn all the effects off here. We'll turn the resonance all the way down. And we're going to turn the modulations off, so they're just being controlled by the knobs. This way you can start to hear kind of what the wavetables sound like. So using these 2 knobs now, you can explore some of the wavetables. We do things like wavetable morph, wavetable where the wavetable basically moves between one, and just some other fun wavetable effects. You kind of hear some of the different waves. Try this one more time here. There we go. I think I have all my modulations off. So when you start applying the modulations to the wavetables, that's when you can really get some interesting effects. Let's go ahead and do the mod attack on a wavetable here. You kind of hear that the mod, changing the wavetables. Try putting the mod on both of them. Put a fast LFO on a wavetable, and then you're getting really into it. Crazy world. This can be good with synthesis. like to do is if you have a real kind of noisy, kind of chaotic sound like that, you just put some delay on it. And the delay really can smooth out some of the more harsh sounds. Just put a little delay on it, kind of smooths it out. A little resonance on too, why not? So you hear the difference there. We've gone out of a wavetable oscillator, and this is a more sort of a traditional analog sounding oscillator. Blipblox is a digital synthesizer, but we like to think of it as analog inspired. You know, we love analog synths, but for the range of sounds we wanted to get, we did have to go digital on this. One of the things that's nice with the Blipblox is that on the oscillator modulation schemes, we could really do some interesting things. For example, some of these oscillator schemes actually have they can have up to 6 or 7 oscillators. So on a regular synthesizer, you'd have to provide a way to control all those oscillators. But what we do with all those oscillators, we just use these modulation inputs, and we can just program in what we wanted all those oscillators to do with the 2 modulation inputs. So that's how some of the sounds get really big on the Blipblox. Get a lot of good variation. One of the things I like to do is you can put the 2 LFOs, one on each modulation source. So here you can see the modulation inputs 1 and 2 on these purple LEDs. You can see those two LFOs. You have control over each of them. Slow those down, turn the modulation up, and then you're really just getting a lot of different sound, sort of on every note. You really hear the modulations on this sound. So let's go ahead. Let's put them both to the modulation attack. So you can see on these purple LEDs, you can see the effect of the slower modulation attack. Change it up again. One thing that I found is the filter lever is a pretty amazing control device. Unlike a knob, you can just move it so quick, and it's much more quick and precise compared to even a fader also. You really kind of tweak your cutoff there and make some nice little thank everyone for hanging out here. We're just having some fun, playing with the Blipblox a little bit. Again, if you have any questions, send them in using that chat app. We're coming up on 11:40 here, where we are going to talk a little bit more about the MIDI functions, and we're going to plug the Blipblox into some other equipment we have here, and just see what we can do with it. Stuff like this is what kids just love. They just love being able to quickly freak things out. And in all honesty, I don't know of any other synthesizer that you can just make go crazy so easily like this. And kids just love this stuff. But being able to go through this many sounds at once really is a good way to explore sounds and just find some fun stuff. I want to thank everyone who's here checking out our live stream. We're streaming out of San Francisco today, doing our live stream. We're coming up on 11:40, where we're going to talk a little bit more about some of the MIDI functions of the Blipblox and the Blipblox After Dark. We have some other MIDI devices we're going to plug the After Dark and the original into. Just kind of demonstrate how you can integrate the Blipblox into your existing studio. Techno producers help us with some of these sequences. So you can hear it's a lot of that influence, I think, if you're into EDM music or techno. What we really wanted with the After Dark was a way to just to have a lot of variation with all the different knobs, and we really think we've achieved that. When you're playing with the mod, between the two mod knobs and the filter cutoff, you get a lot of variation with the sound, and that's what we're really looking for. Alright, I'm going to grab another piece of equipment here for our MIDI demonstration coming up at 11:40 here. Give me 1 second. Hey everyone, just joining us. I'm Troy from Playtime Engineering, and we're here demonstrating the Blipblox and the Blipblox After Dark. We're going to have some fun trying some different MIDI controllers here. This is one of our favorite new MIDI controllers. This is the Rhythmo Beatbox. Get this hooked in here. You know, we wire up all this stuff in real time, and I think it's a good just way to demonstrate how easy it is just to start plugging in your Blipblox to other devices. There's so much great devices out there, so many good devices, and it's just fun being able to get them all interfaced together. Just give me 1 second while I get this going. So again, we are broadcasting live out of San Francisco today. We're just having some fun demonstrating the Blipblox, and this is our 11:40 session on Blipblox and MIDI. So I wanted to start with just showing how you can, what you can do with some of the different MIDI devices. Again, this is the Beatbox. This is fun. This is a kit where you can build your own MIDI controller. This has similar these arcade buttons like what we have on the Blipblox itself. So it's just a lot of fun. So the Beatbox doesn't have a 5-pin MIDI output, which the Blipblox needs. The Blipblox needs a 5-pin MIDI to interact, but it's not a big deal. We just push this through. We push it through Ableton Live through a USB. So the Beatbox is going through USB into our computer, and then it's coming out through a simple MIDI interface into the Beatbox, into the Blipblox. So we can just see what kind. The beatbox is programmable, so you can, these are octaves and notes, but... So with the Blipblox here, we're just going to hit the randomize button until we find some good sounds to play with. Sounding pretty good. We'll put some delay on it. Play drums with this too. Let's we change the MIDI channel to a drum channel. Now we can even have the Blipblox working as a little drum machine. We'll find some drum samples here. I think with the beatbox, if you want to do drums and synth sounds at the same time, you probably could. You got to assign these some different MIDI channels. On the Blipblox, it does receive MIDI. It has a MIDI in with a 5-pin MIDI input, and it receives. You can select your MIDI channel on the Blipblox. You basically just, when you turn it on, you can hold down the 2 control buttons here while you turn it on. And then you have the mod 2 basically selects one of the 16 LEDs here. So this responds to the MIDI channel. So if you want to go to MIDI channel 1, 2, or 3, right now we have it set to MIDI channel 3. And so the synthesizer will respond to MIDI channel 3, and the drums will respond to MIDI channel 4 in this mode. So basically the drums will always be +1. So you can hold down the kick and snare to lock that parameter in. Restart your Blipblox. So we have the beatbox here going out on channel 4. And we can go back to channel 3 to get the synth sounds. We got a question earlier about using other tunes, basically, and we've actually done that. We've gone onto the internet and we have found some songs in their MIDI files, and this is pretty cool because you can find just about any song on the internet in a MIDI file, and you can push it into your Blipblox using some very basic software. So we're going to get that set up here. Again, we're doing this all in real time just to sort of demonstrate how easy it is. It's really not that hard to get things plugged in and start doing some fun stuff. So we're going to plug in, we're going to get 2 Blipbloxes going here. Let's get the shot all set up here. So we have 2 Blipbloxes. We have one set to channel 1 and the other one set to channel 3. We have Ableton Live running, where we have two tracks, one on MIDI channel 1, MIDI channel 3. We have the sequencers turned off on both of these by holding the filter mod and sequencer. So the sequencers are off, and let's see what we can do to get some music going here. In 1 second here, we get this all tuned out. So, we have a little Avicii here going. Gone, but not forgotten. And we'll bring in the other channel here. into 80s stuff. What else do we have here? So it's just a fun way to play around with some different sounds. Just give me just 1 second here. I'm going to check on one thing. I will be right back. Just give me 1 second. Thanks for that. We're just doing a quick little tune on these. The Blipblox, you can tune them. We have instructions to do that. And when you're playing with two of them, it is important they're both in good tune. So we just want to get those all tuned up. All right, that sounds a little better. Maybe you have a kid, they're into pop music, you know, you can do pop music too, and why not? Maybe you're into 80s hair metal or something. We can... A little Van Halen here. That's pretty fun. And besides just playing notes, you can also synchronize your Blipbloxes with things like drum machines. So let me go ahead and pull out, demonstrate how you can. So here I have an old Korg ER-1. You know, these are nice because there's so much of this equipment available now on the used market. So if, you know, maybe you're just getting started with synthesizers, maybe you start with a Blipblox, maybe you just want to get some old drum machines, you know, you can get something like this probably for, you know, $60, and you can start putting a little studio together, and it's super easy. So like I said, I do this all in real time, just plugging all this stuff in, just so I can show you how easy it is to get this stuff working. All right, let's plug in the ER-1. Almost got it here. If I can do this live on a stream, then you should be able to do it at home pretty easily. Okay. So we're going to plug in our ER-1. Let's dial up. So let me get this all set up here. We are going to put the Blipblox on MIDI channel 1. So again, we'll hold this down. We'll go MIDI channel 1 here, lock it in. What's nice about the Blipblox is it does have the ability to turn on or off, whether it starts with a MIDI start signal. So I think we have that turned on now. Let's try. We're doing this stuff live, so just bear with us. We'll get this all figured out. It's not too difficult, but just a few little tricks we have to do. Hope everyone's enjoying their day. I want to thank you for joining us here. With the MIDI, like I was saying there, you can, on the Blipblox, you can control whether it starts or stops with an external start or stop command from MIDI. And this can be handy. Sometimes you want it to do that, sometimes you don't. So we have that channel. We have that option. So here we're going to hold down sequencer and control 1. And we're going to have it so it does respond to MIDI start. So we're doing this live, so it's going to be a little chaotic here at first. We'll get something dialed in. We've got a little groove going. So with this setup, we have the Blipblox is playing its internal sequences, but it's locked to the MIDI out of the ER-1. So we can do things like we can control the tempo of the ER-1, and the Blipblox will track it. So this is a nice, easy way to synchronize your gear together. nice little techno set going if you want So you can do this with any device that sends a MIDI out. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of devices that you can do this with. It just makes it fun and easy. You know, if you want to jam with your kid, you know, you can play on the drum machine. They can play on the Blipblox. ER-1's fun, and he actually has the audio out too, so you can actually gate the Blipblox if you want to. There's some fun effects you can do there. You'll see that when the Blipblox is MIDI synced, the tempo lever is not activated. So the Blipblox is getting all its tempo from the external drum machine. And also, I think the most common thing you can do with MIDI is plug in a keyboard. So we did that earlier, but let's check that out again. Maybe we can change it up a little bit. Why don't we try playing with two Blipbloxes at once? So we've got our MIDI keyboard here. We're just kind of having fun experimenting today. So why don't we do maybe an After Dark and an original. Maybe we can get both these going here. Watch out for my lighting setup here. See some of my hair. All right. Again, I'm doing this all live, real time, just to show you how easy it is. It's not too difficult to get these different configurations going. So go ahead, plug in, power up our MIDI keyboard. This is just to get some power. And we are going to send MIDI out of our keyboard here. Now the Blipblox, it doesn't have a MIDI through, so we have this handy little device here. It's this is a MIDI through box, And this basically just doubles up MIDI signals. So we'll send the keyboard, from the MIDI keyboard through this MIDI through. Now we'll send it out to one into the After Dark, and we'll send the other one into the original. The original doesn't have the ability to set a MIDI channel, so it's always set at channel 1 for the synthesizer. So we'll turn these both on. We're going to turn off the sequencer on both of them. And we got to get audio to the original. An audio cable here. This is kind of the fun part of being in a studio. It's just having a lot of cables, having a lot of wires. You know, it's actually it's fun. It kind of gives the mad scientist feel to playing with this equipment and just, you know, connecting different stuff together. It's just fun to see what different sounds you can get out of it. So we're going to set our MIDI channel here to channel 1. I think we got that. So let's see if we can get anything out of the original here. One second here, almost got it. Okay. I'm not sure if the MIDI through is working here. That's fine. Let me just plug this directly into the... Let me just start with this. We can do a little MIDI with the original. Just kind of hear what you can do. Second here. I'm going to try one more time to get this MIDI through working. I think we almost got it. Not cooperating today. All right, that's not a big deal. So let's just play with the original here. Thanks for bearing with us here. All right. Original. So let's go ahead and plug in the After Dark now. What's nice with the After Dark is that you can put on can play the drums in a drum solo mode, and you can give yourself a little metronome to play with. So let's go ahead and get this going here. One second here. So we put the After Dark into the drum solo mode, so it has a little drum beat to play with there. Still control the tempo here. Turn that off. Just join us. Thanks for tuning in. We're just kind of showing off some of the MIDI functions here. You see we got a little mess of MIDI cables, but that's part of the fun here on playing with this gear. You just take pretty much any gear you have lying around and start plugging in and just playing with it. So we've demonstrated the keyboard and the Beatbox, and so let's get a more advanced piece of equipment here. We have a nice Korg, a new Electribe here. This is really a great piece of equipment. We work closely with our friends at Korg. We both have a common interest in getting kids into synthesizers. So we work together a little bit. We have a little relationship, and we appreciate their gear. So I'm going to tidy up our workspace here, and we're going to see what we can do playing with a piece of advanced gear like this with the Blipblox. One of the nice things about this setup is that both these devices are actually battery powered. So if you want to do a completely battery powered set, you could. Clean up some of these wires here, just get a nice shot going. We're here live all day, just having some fun. So thanks for joining us. If you have any questions, we have my partner Kate is on the chat, and she's monitoring that. So we'd love to hear from you if you have any questions. So what we're doing here, we have the Korg Electribe. It has basically 16 channels, and we've taken the channel 1 and we're sending that out of the MIDI. So basically we can listen to the Electribe's going to play the After Dark. Gotta get this plugged in here. Get some audio out of the Electribe. We do miss the real events. We enjoy connecting with everyone directly, but doing these virtual events are good too. We get to see everyone and show people some of the fun stuff we're working on. Okay, so let's go ahead and start this here. So if you remember earlier, we had the Blipblox set to automatically turn on the sequencer with the external MIDI sync. We're going to turn that off now because we're just going to be sending the MIDI notes in from the Electribe. So we're going to change that real quick. So we're going to hold down sequencer and Control 1. We're going to disable the automatic sync. So now the Blipblox is just going to respond to notes. So here we have the pad 1 sending the MIDI out. So you can hear the two different things here. So we have the Blipblox playing here. Bring in the Electribe. We're doing this live, it's sounding fun. It takes a second to get things tuned in, but we'll get it all set there. Get a jam going here. So again, we have the Electribe here playing. We have the 16 pads to work with, but we have the pad number 1. We actually have the volume turned off here, so we're not hearing the Electribe play its part 1, but it is going into the Blipblox. So this is pretty fun. You can really have a, this is pretty much you can do a good live set here if you just had a Blipblox and an Electribe. You can even bring the audio from the Blipblox back into the Electribe and apply some effects, and that'd be fun too. But the Blipblox has nice effects. It pretty much sounds good right out of the output. Let's try a new song here. the levels here a little bit. Big transition here. So you can kind of hear it. There's a lot of fun stuff you can do with some different equipment. So let's see which is which here. We're going to turn down the Electribe. This is just the Blipblox playing. We have some fun with the synthesis parameters on this. And then we'll bring in the Korg. Another song. So we'll start here with just a little Korg beat here. And then we'll try bringing in some Blipblox. As you can hear, the After Dark can really make a nice, add a nice addition to a live set, and also, I think it'd look really cool on stage. Fun addition to your live set. Try another song. And we'll start with just a little Electribe to start us off here. And we'll drop the Blipblox. So, have any questions about what we're doing here? Go ahead, let us know in the chat. We'd love to chat with you. My partner Kate here is monitoring our chat, so if you have any questions, we'd love to answer them. We'd love to chat with you. You know, and you don't have to be a professional performer or musician to have fun doing your own little bedroom live set. It's just a lot of fun to play with this stuff, and you know, by starting with playing is how you become a real musician. You start in your bedroom and then you work your way up from there. So again, we'll, you know, this is all the Blipblox here. A nice sort of squeaky, a lot of stuff going on with the sound. I think it complements the Electribe really well. With the delay, it's the Blipblox can go right into your mixer. With this set, you actually don't even really need a mixer. You can put the Blipblox into the Electribe, and you're good to go. What you're hearing there is we're playing with some of the wavetables on the After Dark. With the wavetables, you really get, there's a lot of sonic texture you can explore in Blipblox. The track here. Again, we'll start with just a little Electribe to get us started. Electribe is just packed with good songs and good sounds, but you don't have the synthesis capabilities on the Electribe. So that's why an external sequencer like the Blipblox can really fill out the sound nicely. Those really big sounds, you know, some equipment like the Electribe is not quite, you can't get the really big sounds out of it like you can out of the Blipblox. So you just have something simple here from the Electribe. And then you want the big epic sound. It can really fill a room. Bring in the Blipblox. Let's try another song here. Coming up here on 11:30, so we're gonna 12:30. So we're gonna switch gears a little bit here. We're gonna go back and just take a closer look at just our the After Dark on its own, and we're gonna talk a little bit about the oscillator schemes. So we're gonna wind down this. We might come back to this Electribe later, just because it's so much fun. Thank you all for joining us. If you're just tuning in, welcome to our live stream here. Thanks for stopping by to learn about the Blipblox and the Blipblox After Dark. Just tidy up our stream here. We're here all day, just having fun, showing off the Blipblox. So again, thank you for joining us. We are on our live chat right now, and if you are interested in the Blipblox or the Blipblox After Dark, they are available at our site at blipblox.com. We do have a special discount for Synthesthesia viewers right now, so you can use that for a nice discount. We actually don't discount the After Dark too often, so if you are interested in gaining After Dark, now's the time to do it, because it's sort of a rare discount we're offering right now. So we're going to talk about some of the oscillator schemes. Oscillator schemes are really the heart of the Blipblox, and what really gives us its power, I think, and gives us its ability to create a lot of different interesting sounds. A lot of people, when they first see a synthesizer like this, especially synthesizer people, they want to know, how can I get it to a bass sound and like a basic sound? And that's, in all honesty, it's not what the Blipblox is designed to do. It's sort of designed to be chaotic, but the first thing, if you do want to try and find a bass sound, is you want to turn all your modulations down to 0. So you start with your modulations down to 0, and you see we have we want to change the filter modulation. We want to get this basically to the lever only. So you'll see when you press these buttons, the modulation select buttons, the LEDs point you to what the new modulation source is. So we just saw that go to LFO2, LFO1. That little squiggly line here shows you it's just this lever that's affecting the sound. So now we can start to hear what some of these modulations do. So there are 16 oscillator schemes, and within these oscillator schemes we have things like a lot of synthesis parameters like pulse width modulation, hard sync, detune, wavetables, and a few other sort of customized modulations we've designed. So you can go through these one at a time and sort of hear what these modulations do. When we have all the other, these are just, like I said, just knob modulations. Actually, this one's still on. You can kind of tell from these purple LEDs up here, these show you the different modulations. So you can tell that just the knob is affecting mod 1 and mod 2 here. So you can turn up one modulation just to hear what it's doing. So you can hear what this modulation is doing to this particular oscillator model, oscillator scheme. Same with modulation 1. I think that is applying a detune. So as you turn that up, it applies a detune. Turn our delay down here also. So what you can do now is you can apply a modulation source. So we're going to hit the Control 1 button. And with these two LEDs coming down, that's showing you that the mod attack is going to be activated. So now we can turn up this effect and add some slow mod attack. So what this is doing is, as the envelope attacks, is that it's actually applying a detune. So it starts not detuned, and then as the modulation, as the envelope moves forward, it sort of opens up that. You can select an LFO to hear a similar effect. Again, this is just one modulation scheme. So let's explore some other modulation schemes. It's this concept of a modulation scheme, or an oscillator scheme, that really lets you make some pretty crazy sounds really easily with the Blipblox. So what we're gonna try and do here, we're gonna put let's put LFO 1 on modulation 1, LFO 2 on modulation 2. So there we see LFO 1 on modulation 1, LFO 2 on modulation 2. So if you turn the LFO speeds down, you can get a different sound almost every note you hear. You can see the two LFOs applying the modulations up here on the LED display. So with the same modulations, we can change the scheme. This particular one's a pretty heavy pitch detuning. This is good for pitch effects. So again, let's explore one of these oscillator schemes in a little more detail. We'll turn the LFOs off. So now it's just the knobs. So that's with no modulation. If we apply modulation 1, you hear the difference. You hear the modulation 2. These blue modulation schemes, these are pretty fun. They are these are get a little bit more experimental, and you get some really interesting overtones out of these. Let's hear it. So here we have the filter wide open, no resonance, no delay. So you can hear a lot of the sound, this is just straight oscillator sound. So, once you do other things like apply a filter, you have a whole nother dimension. But just starting with the raw oscillator, you can hear just the wide range of sounds you can get out of this. I love synthesizers where you just tweak that knob a tiny bit, and there's like a whole new universe of sound. And that's what we're sort of going for with these blue modulation schemes. So what's fun about this is that there's no LFOs applied here. So what you're hearing is just these slight harmonics sort of beating with each other. So let's get a little crazy, and we hear this beating. Let's go ahead and put some LFOs on this just to really crazy it up. So this is a pretty big sound, a lot going on. A little noisy, but what I like with synthesis is when you have a big sound like this, push it through a bandpass filter. Now with the bandpass filter, now we can just get a little piece of that sound, right? So it really tames those big sounds. And then of course you can always add some delay. Delay is really great with really big sounds because it really acts to smooth out some of that roughness. Let's check out some other oscillators. So we're going to turn the delay back off. We're going to make this all dry again. We're going to open up the filter all the way. And we'll go back to knob-only modulation. So these sounds, you might question whether they're musical or not. But for me, having all this opportunity to push the sound in a lot of different directions to extremes is where you can really discover some interesting sounds. Let's try adding the envelope to both of these. Again, so this you're just coming out of the oscillator, so let's go ahead, let's add a little resonance to the filter, add a little filter effect, add some delay. So you can take one of those really big sounds, sort of tame it, and it becomes a little more musical. So we'll kind of default this. Let's explore some other sounds here. So our yellow oscillator types, these are our wavetables. So the Blipblox actually has a ROM table of wavetables. So you can explore all these waves, and this really adds a pretty good dimension of new sounds to the After Dark. So we can explore some of these wavetables. Open up the filter. So again, there's just a lot of sound and just the slightest movements of the knob. So that's a classic sort of wavetable there that you hear, a nice sort of bell kind of FM-y sound. There's some FM synthesis, but in the Blipblox, but when you use the wavetable, you can get those good sort of bell tones right off the wavetable. Just like all the other modulation, all the other oscillator schemes, you can apply a modulation to this to add some subtle variation or some crazy variation. So that sounds sort of crazy right now, but you can tame it. You can put some filter on it. So there we start with sort of a big crazy wavetable sound, and then just by filtering it a little bit, it's a very nice sound. You can do some good things with that. And a little delay. So now you can just see all the different things you can play with the sound. You can change the LFO speeds. You can change the amounts. Try a different filter. It's a bandpass. For me, this is what I really like about synthesizers. I like the ability to push them really far into extreme sonic areas, and I think I'm really happy that I was able to capture that with the After Dark. There's really a lot to explore. So here we started with the crazy sound, and maybe with some drums we can actually start to make a song out of it. What I don't like about synthesizers is when you run out of sounds to explore. I think a good synthesizer should have lots of different sounds to explore, and I think that's what you get with the After Dark. There's so many things you can explore with it, and this is all using these oscillator schemes that we're talking about. This is going back to sort of a more analog sounding oscillator scheme. The Blipblox is a digital device, but we like to think of it as analog inspired. So we love analog synths, but we want to try and capture sort of that vibe of analog with this using our digital technology. Sometimes I think the filter cutoff can almost be a crutch. It's always so easy to tweak sound just using the filter cutoff. But there's so much you can do with the oscillators themselves as far as real-time modulation. We know the Blipblox, we know it looks like a toy, we know it has sort of a fun design, but we really want people to explore all the sonic textures that are inside of it. We think there's a lot to explore, a lot of different sounds, and hope we kind of showed you a little bit how you can access some of those. So again, thanks for joining us. We're just streaming here all day, having fun, talking about the Blipblox. And if you have any specific questions, hit us up on that chat. My partner here, Kate, would love to chat with you. We'd love to answer any questions you might have. wondering what that sort of bird song effect is, it's an LFO being applied to the pitch, but it's actually changing note values. So it's like an LFO, but it's hitting specific note values. So it's kind of fun. This is an effect we have from the original device also. Hey, thanks for joining us on the live stream. We're just playing around here, having some fun. We have a few sessions here at 1:30. We're going to get a little, see if we can get a little performance going. But right now, we're just playing around, listening to the After Dark, hearing some of the fun sounds you can make with it. If you have any questions, hit us up on the chat. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks for joining us here at Synthesthesia 2021. All right, thanks everyone for joining us. We're going to take a quick break here. We'll be back at 1:30, and we're going to get some Blipbloxes together. We're going to see if we can put a little live performance together. So thanks everyone for joining us, and please come by at 1:30, and we'll see you then. stream up yet. Where am I at?